We are live with Martin O'Dell, aka Lagom Chef, who is going to take you through our lunchtime cook-along. So, Martin, over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Martin. I go aka the Lagom Chef. Basically, I am on a mission to cut out household food waste. Household food waste is one of the biggest contributors to, global warming that we can have a direct effect on. I sell meal plans. I have an academy where I teach people skills online, and I hate to say it, but I'm officially an influencer working with brands, creating food waste content, and sort of spreading the message around food waste, sustainability, and the choices that we can make to make a massive impact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through what we class as like a zero waste dish. I find the word zero waste quite weird because all food waste is us throwing food into the bin and not eating it. So if we can utilize the whole ingredient, learn how to cook properly, then we are onto a winner. So today's recipe, what we're going to be making is we're going to be making this cauliflower curry. So the reason I picked a cauliflower, one, because it's coming into season or just in season, and two, because it's a very underutilized ingredient. We're all familiar of the florets, which you would use for a cauliflower cheese, you would use in a salad, you can char them, you can roast them, all that kind of stuff. And then you've got these lovely leaves. Now, what people tend to do is they tend to just stick their knife in, pop it off, remove all of the stem and all of these leaves, and then just sling them in the bin. This is where we're all going wrong. So I'm going to show you how to use it. So first things first, we're going to prep this cauliflower down. So with the leaves, what you can do is stick your knife directly in and then just give it a little pop and twist that out. And then what you'll do is you'll remove maybe some of the florets, but that's okay because we're going to use everything. So all of these leaves are perfectly fine. So I'm just going to put those to one side. But the one thing we need to remember is in the middle is the stem. Now the stem is basically an extension of the floret. So that is completely edible and beautiful. You can treat it in so many different ways. But what we're going to do is we're going to break these florets down. So tip of the knife just goes in and you're just going to pop your way around, removing your florets as you go. So you can just put them down there. So this stem is a little bit more fibrous than the florets. They're a bit more delicate, but it is just as beautiful. So once you've got your florets all broken down, you'll be left with these bits. So you've got your leaves, you got your florets, and you've got your little stem in the middle. So the stem, let's just do a little bit of knife skills. So the stem, what we can do is we can just slice down and you can create these sort of like really beautiful little thin slivers. So these are great for salads. You can pickle these, you can roast these up, you can do loads and loads of things with those. So that's one bit of the cauliflower. Then the leaves. Now, I know they look a bit weird and a bit sort of like a bit strange. What we can do is we can just run our knife around. And again, you're left with some more stem. Beautiful. Chop it down. Don't throw it in the bin. So the problem that we have with food waste, okay, so this is the simplest form of it. If we take food and we put it into a bin, a black bin bag, and then that gets taken away, what then happens is that it just goes to landfill. And then when it goes to landfill, it can't decompose naturally. So this is the real problem. People are like, what's the problem if I just throw a little bit of food into the bin? The problem is it can't decompose naturally. When that happens, greenhouse gases get produced, methane, carbon dioxide, all of that kind of stuff. That's what contributes to global warming. So the simplest thing that we need to think about is not putting this food into a black bin bag, okay? So we can utilize all of the ingredient, and if we eat it, beautiful. If we can't eat it, i.e. when we're prepping down some onion skin, which I'll talk about later, we can put it into a compost. So composting reduces the amount of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases that is produced, and then that saves the environment. Now, the crazy thing is about food waste is when you sum it all, or when you break it all down and you go, what is food waste? And you go, food waste is stuff that you put into a bin and you don't eat. So the crazy thing is the solution to, global warming is to eat food. Eat the food you buy. It is that simple. And you break it down. Yes, it's a little bit more complex with where you buy your ingredients from and all of that stuff. But if we're solely talking about food waste, then it is basically eating the food that you buy. And that is my message. I'm so passionate and just, trying to be clear that There are so many other external factors that can happen, but by eating the food that you bring into your house, simplifying everything you eat, you can genuinely make one of the biggest impacts on the planet. So I'll throw a statistic at you. 70%, so these leaves, I'm just roughly chopping up. You can just treat these like any other green vegetable. So you can blanch and refresh them, you can chop them down, you can fry them, you can saute them, you can roast them, anything. But we're just going to prep this all, and then this is going to go into our curry. So let me grab a little bowl. So as I was saying, 70% of all food waste that is produced in the UK is from UK homes. So that is us throwing away food. It's not restaurants, it's not manufacturing, it's not retail, it's not any of those places. It is us at home. And I say this in the nicest way possible. It's because we're all extremely fucking lazy. Excuse me. It really isn't that hard to not waste food. If you think about it, just eat the food that you bring into your house. That is all you have to do. So that is our cauliflower prep. We're just going to leave that to one side. Now, everyone loves an onion. Everyone needs to know how to prep an onion. This is a beautiful onion. Now, it's got two ends. So this is the trick, okay? So I call this bit the nipple end. This is the bit that grows out of the ground. And then you've got the root end. Now, the root end is going to be your friend when preparing an ingredient. So take it as close to that nipple end as possible. So you're literally just using a little bit. I'm just going to butt in here with a product placement from Co-op. This is Co-op. They're bags, and these are completely biodegradable and compostable. So if you want to compost at home and you don't have one of those little compost caddies, or you don't have a food waste bin, you can use bags like this, sling your rubbish in there, go find a mate, go, excuse me, Steve, can I borrow your compost bin? He'll go, of course you can. Let's save the environment together. We win-win. So Co-op, one of the best. Tesco's not so good. Sainsbury's, all the others not so brilliant. But Co-op, legendary. So here we go. Dice your onion. So peel off the skin. Now, as I was saying, with this skin, you can save this for stocks. Now, I have the cheapest, most amazing backpack machine, okay? This cost me like £50, and then you get these rolls of backpack seal bags. You can get biodegradable ones from this company called Grounded Packaging, which do amazing ones, which will biodegrade when you put them into the ground. What I do is I collect these along with any other veg trimmings, i.e. if I'm not going to use that, put it in a bag. You can freeze it. When you've got enough, you can make a veg stock. Therefore, we are not losing anything. If you want to be a little bit more mental and be a little bit more like food waste savvy, these peels, one, if you have a dehydrator, or most of us don't, I don't, but we all have an oven. You can put these skins into the oven and these last little bits of peel, and you can dehydrate it down, blitz it, and then turn it into a powder. That powder can then be used for making bread. It can be used for finishing dishes. It can be used as a seasoning. You can mix it through salt. So you've got onion salt. There are so many options. And this is my sort of like philosophy. It's being creative with ingredients, but not in, like a molecular gastronomy way. It's the simplicity of it. If you look at an onion, just make sure you utilize every single little bit of it. And that's all we need to do. So with the onion, rabbiting on here, here's the root end. This is your friend, okay? So we're going to dice one side and we're going to slice the other half. So when dicing the onion, keep the root end intact because that holds the structure of the onion, okay? Hand position is like a weird claw. Tip of the knife is going to rub up against this index finger. So tip of the knife right down towards that root end. The finer you cut, the finer the dice. The wider you cut, the wider the dice. It's pretty simple. So what you have is this onion, and it's like a deck of cards, okay? It's held together by this root end. You are not chasing the onion around the board. It is all here. If you want to go really fine, you can go through the onion again, but I'm just going to sort of weird claw hand, clasp it all together, and then just run my knife down, nice and gentle, and then you'll have some beautiful dice. Then what you're doing is you're using the onion and the sort of, what's the word, like geometry, is that a word? Geometry of an onion, or basically what nature's given you, all of the layers in the onion to give you a beautiful dice thing. Now look, I'm not going to be weird and say, that's food waste. That is not food waste. That is basically just going to go in the compost and make some soil very happy. So there's a beautiful diced onion. You can dice and slice, you can do whichever you want. Then This side, I'm just going to slice. So I'm just going to take off that last little bit. He can go in the compost bag. So when using a chef's knife, what you want to use is the heel here. The heel is kind of where the power cuts are. The tip of the knife is where the delicate finesse cuts are. Hold it however you want, however you feel comfortable. It's just like, just pick it up. It's like when they teach you how to, what is it, lunge or something. They push you forward and your dominant foot always lands. Just grab a knife, however it feels comfortable. You can put your finger on here. You can do it like a trigger, however. Then all you're going to do is rub up against this index finger. And this is the safest way. If you go up above that knuckle, you'll cut your finger. If you just let it rock and rub, you'll be totally fine. So you don't have to tap. Tapping is a little bit more chefy and a bit more annoying. You can just tip of the knife, heel down. Nice silent cuts. My son is sleeping. It's all good. Right. So there is your lovely bit of onion. So I'm just going to turn this pan on. So this is basically like a one pot wonder, no waste, and it's super easy. So one chef that I really want to talk to you about is this guy. Is that a fly? That's annoying. Is this guy called Doug McMaster? Okay, he is, take his name down, Doug space McMaster. He is like one of the most incredible sort of zero waste thinkers in the world. He's got a restaurant called Silo, and the idea of his restaurant came from someone coming up to him and basically saying, "Have you ever thought about cooking without a bin?" And then he just had this idea and he ran with it. So Silo was born from that. It is a complete zero waste restaurant. Now, the problem that we have in our homes is that we rely on lots of external things, okay? So having zero waste with plastic, we rely on the supermarkets or we rely on the shops we go to not put stuff into plastic, something that we don't have control of. If you go to markets, fantastic. But what he does is he'll work with suppliers that deal with the milk, so they'll come in just big milk urns. He'll work with veg suppliers that will just bring stuff in crates that are completely reusable. Yes, it may be touching plastic, but it's, you can reuse and reuse and reuse. And he's created this thing called a closed loop system where he would never buy flour. He would grind his own flour to create flour. So if he wanted to make a cake, he would take milk and he would turn it into butter and he would have the curds in the way. And then he would grind flour, and then that is how his whole process works. And there is nothing that is wasted. And I did a podcast with him. Let's just get these sweating off. I did a podcast with him. We talked about how this is achievable in the home. And he said, to be honest, it relies on so many external things that it is pretty impossible. But he's working on something to make it happen. Because you're relying on the council to have food waste bins for you. And you're relying on the council to take that food waste and put it somewhere that's not in a landfill. And we've all seen the documentaries of like Hugh Fernley and all of that, where recycling is taken to Malaysia and it's just dumped. And we think we've done our part by recycling, but again, we're reliant on external people dealing with that for us. So if we can reduce our food waste that is actually going into a bin or into a compost or relying on someone else, then we can have this massive, huge impact, like a ridiculous impact. So garlic, what I like to do is I like to sweat off my onions first before putting my garlic in. So if you put garlic straight away in when you're trying to sort of soften down your onions, what will happen is it will start to burn and it will taint the flavor. So garlic, I've just got a couple of cloves here. I'm just going to run my knife over. I'm not too bothered about it being all nice and fancy. Nice big chunks of garlic, and they can go in. Oh, I lost my spoon. Let's put that there. Okay, so ginger. Here's a little peeling hack. Where's my spoon? I had it. Spoon. So here's a little hack for you. I'm not much of a cookie hack person, but this is one that I use all the time. So with ginger, it's got all these little like nooks and crannies and all these little sort of like weird knobbly bits. Grab yourself a teaspoon. Then all you need to do is just draw, that teaspoon around the ingredient, and it takes off. I don't know if you can see this. Let me come closer. Basically just takes off just that skin, and that is it. Some people don't care about the skin going into their dish, but you know what, I do. So I'm just going to peel these bits off. So these skins of ginger, again, you can dehydrate it down. dehydrate it down and infuse some sugar or something with it. You know, you make a cup of tea. Just don't put it in the bin. I mean, we are all, you know, we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. I'm not 100% perfect. I try so hard to be, you know, as good as possible. So ginger, just going to grate him down on my microplane. I like to grate ginger down. Sometimes when you chop it, it ends up, you know, having a few little chunks in there. But you're doing a stir fry, I think it's all right. But get this little guy grated down. Watch your fingers. So basically, what I do, my life, I teach people, you know, the simplicity of cooking. I think with sustainability, it can be such a, you know, sustainability, food waste, zero waste can be so highbrow that people almost feel that it's like unattainable to, you know, get involved, and they don't understand what the big ramifications are of wasting food. And as I explained earlier, food going into a landfill creates greenhouse gases, which we all know are awful. So by me doing what I do, I just try and educate people. I try and educate, such a high word, but I try and inspire people to just not chuck food in the bin. That is basically the simplicity of my job. Eat the food you buy. Pretty simple, right? The two big things that I try and sort of bring from restaurant culture into house culture is thinking about stock levels. Like the way I kind of put it is you've got perishable and you've got non-perishable. Okay, so perishable stuff is food that will go off quickly, i.e. 1 to 2 weeks. Your veggies, your meats, your fish, your dairy, your herbs, you know, those kind of things. Then what you've got is your non-perishable stuff, and this is, you know, spices, nuts, oils, all of that kind of stuff that will not go off for a long period of time. So where our attention needs to be is on the fresh stuff. So if we've got an incredible pantry or dry store, whatever you want to call it, of spices, you know, I've got like lentils, pastas, rices, oils, all of that kind of stuff, then you just plug in fresh ingredients, i.e. cauliflower, onions, garlic, all that kind of stuff. You can bring together amazing dishes without being overwhelmed of having food in your fridge that's probably going to turn and go off. So simplifying your life is basically what Lagom is. You know, I don't know why I laughed, that's my business name, but Lagom is basically, I built the business because I was like, oh, Lagom is such a sick word. It basically means it sort of sums down to moderation. So it's not too much, not too little, just the right amount. So it's a Swedish philosophy. And they carry it into, like, you know, you think of IKEA, they basically have like minimalist stuff that does its job. And this is what I want to bring forward into food. You know, you can have a minimal pantry, you can have a minimal amount of fresh ingredients, but still make incredible food. And a lot of, you know, food wastey, sort of like high-endy chefs bring in all of these ingredients that we're just like, what the fuck is spirulina? Is that going to change my life? No, it's not. Will cauliflower change your life? I can damn bloody tell you it will change your life. So we've got our onions, our garlic. We sweat this down, and this is smelling incredible. I've got just some standard curry powder. I'm a massive fan of spices. You can't see it, but just behind you is my shelf of spice. Let me show you. This is what can change a dish. Okay, all of these spices, have them. Go and get them from your local, you know, corner shop. They all cost me like 70p. Fill them up, and that just like transforms a dish. And again, it's that non-perishable thing that will stay there for a long time and can absolutely transform something. So I don't bloody know how much is going in here. A couple of teaspoons. Go on, girl. See you later. So then we give this a little mix around until you have this. By the way, do you like my t-shirt? I know you can't really communicate with me, but it says the jungle was massive. BBC Earth did a really great t-shirt run. I love it. Next thing, what we're going to do, I can't remember. I took the labels off thinking that it's like branding. I'm going to get told off. Coconut milk, chickpeas. So chickpeas, let's talk about this. So in the vegan world, plant-based world, this liquid, which I'm going to drain into this bowl, is like, I don't know, it's like a godsend to them. This stuff is called aquafaba. I like to call it aquafabination, but it's just called aquafaba. Chickpeas are just going to go into here. So this stuff is basically what vegans and vegetarians or plant-based people use as a egg substitute. So you can whip it up, you can put it in meringues, you can use it to make mayonnaise, which leads me on to another product placement. Hope you don't mind. But these guys, they're doing incredible things. As I said, I'm an influencer, but I'd never plug a product that is crap and is not doing anything good. This, Rubies in the Rubble, honestly, hands down, you take Hellmann's, you take this is incredible. What they do is they take the aquafaba that I've just shown you from chickpea plants. So when, not the plant of a chickpea, but when the factories are making chickpeas and they boil all the chickpeas in the water, that normally gets discarded. Okay, well done. Water's just been thrown away. Congratulations. What Rubies do, they go and take that and they make amazing plant-based mayonnaise. And it is honestly genuinely incredible. This is just the standard mayo. This one is a chili mayo. They also do a garlic mayo, which I've inhaled, so I haven't got any to show you. But they also do ketchups. They do a banana ketchup. This has got surplus pears in it. So pears that would have been thrown out, boom, stick it in there, sweetness. Oh yeah, go on, sister. Right, chickpeas are in. This is the coconut milk. So if you're telling, if someone comes up to you and is like, oh, can you make me a zero waste recipe? You're like, yeah, I can, because this coconut milk, in you go. Okay. Don't throw these out. You can recycle them, or you can turn them into like hipster plant pots, or I use them as like a teaspoon holder. I've got my cutlery in the other one, and it's basically like I'm in an East London restaurant, just being like the coolest cat in town. So look, coconut milk's gone in, chickpeas are in. What we're going to do now, all of your cauliflower, just go in. Just get it in there. The leaves will wilt down. I'm going to add a little splash of water. It's my dinner. So a little splash of water. And then we're going to bring this up to a bit of a boil. I'm choking on a leaf. Okay, where's my lid? Lid going on. Right, next thing I want to talk to you about is, as I said, with food, if food tastes nice, then you will eat it, okay? You won't waste it. People have this fear of trying or not trying new dishes because they're worried about it not tasting very nice. We all will make mistakes and we'll all make food that tastes horrible. I made a curry the other night that was so disgusting, I couldn't eat it. And forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I put it in the bin because it was so rank. I wouldn't even offer it to someone because it was so bad. But what we need to think about, I've got a little picture here, is in food, I don't know if you can see this, I'll send you the slides. In food, you have these flavor profiles, okay? So you have salty, spice, bitter, sour, and sweet. So think of a dish, any dish that you can think of. Let's go with a curry because we're making a curry. I don't know why I'm talking that loud. So in this curry, what you get is these flavors balance or they enhance certain things. So if you think, why do you have a piece of fish and then put some lemon with it? One, because it cuts through the fat, but because it amplifies all the other flavors that are with it. So that's why salsas work. That's why tacos work. That's why all of these things work. So what I've got is some sugar. Okay, this is just caster sugar. You can use brown sugar. You can use cane sugar. You could use honey, maple syrup. You go with whatever you want. So spiciness, like if you think of curries, if you put some heat in there, which I haven't done, like chili flakes, you can mellow that flavor out with a bit of sweetness. Okay, so you think mango lassies, you think mango chutneys, you think sugars, you think grapes, all of those things kind of like balance or enhance. So I've got a beautiful bit of fresh lime. So lime and sugar, acidity, and this. If you are making this at home, what I would love for you to do is to try this sauce without any seasoning whatsoever. So no salt, no fish sauce, nothing. Have a taste and you'll be like, Mark, this is the worst curry I've ever tasted. Then you come with me and I give you a bit of sugar, a bit of lime, a bit of salt, and you taste it again. And I tell you what, life is good again. So, threw my thing in the bin. So you just want to simmer this away. Now, depending on the size of your cauliflower, will depend on how quick it cooks, obviously. But the leaves, if you shredded them down, they'll just wilt down. And then your cauliflower florets, I like to have mine a little bit crunchy. Like my wife hates it, but I don't mind having them a little bit crunchy. So that can go there. This can go here. While I'm here, look at this crazy peanut butter. It says my name on it. Talking about peanut butter, and this is one of the other big things that I felt a bit guilty for trying to oversimplify my message of food waste. Food waste, as I said, is so simple. It's basically us throwing stuff in the bin because we haven't eaten it. Then I get a lot of people coming to me going, "Oh, but Mark, we've got to think about, the air miles of food, and we've got to think about the sustainability and all of this stuff." I'm like, if you're still wasting ingredients and you've gone and handpicked that flipping cow's wagyu's hip, and you still put some in the bin, then you are still creating food waste. I don't care if you've gone and got all this food from the most sustainable producer, because if you put it in the bin, you're still wasting it. And that is the bit where we need to like nip it in the bud. There's no point in changing habits before if the habit in the kitchen is still terrible. So one of the examples I give, one of the most wasted ingredients is bread. And I know everyone goes, "Oh, I never waste bread. I put it in the freezer." It's like, congratulations. Loads of other people are wasting bread. So if you think of like an artisanal baker, he goes and gets his seeds, he gets his grains, all from these like local producers, and he puts all his heart and love into a loaf. You probably eat about 3/4 of it, and then the end is pretty hard because fresh bread doesn't last as long because it hasn't got all the additives that crappy stuff in the supermarket has. Then you throw that knob end in the bin. You're contributing to food waste. If you are, say, Debbie from Iceland, always use Debbie because I like that name. Debbie goes shopping in Iceland, she buys a loaf of bread for 90p. Yes, it may not be the most sustainably produced, but from her eating all of that, because she needs to feed her family, she is not contributing to the food waste cycle. And this is where we need to think. There's no point getting, fair trade this and fair trade that and sustainable this. Yes, it is incredible and imperative to do, but at the same time, if you're wasting it, what is the point? Yeah. So try and figure out where the problem is in your house. Is it, oh, we're bringing in too much food. Okay, then you need to understand how much you actually need to eat. And this is another part of the business. It's a sort of like a double-ended sword. We can work on calories to understand how much a human needs to consume. Therefore, it correlates, is that a good word? I don't know, let's call it correlates, to an amount of an ingredient. So for example, if you needed to eat 2,000 calories a day, let's just go standard bodybuilding talk and go, that's 3 chicken breasts, 100 grams of rice and some broccoli. Okay, that person probably then can go to the shops and go, right, for my week's worth of food, I need 20 chicken breasts, I need a kilo of rice, and I need 15 heads of broccoli. They know exactly what they need to do. And this is what needs to be implemented in a very simplistic form to our life. Instead of guessing is where stuff goes wrong. You're all doing like accounting and goodness knows what with numbers. What happens if you guess? Shit goes wrong. Don't guess. Take the guesswork out of the situation, and then everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. So, as I said, by understanding how to cook, understanding how to utilize ingredients, don't be scared to try things. You can make the biggest impact. It baffles me. I said to Will the other day, I was like, "Am I allowed to swear?" And he said, "Yes." And I was like, I wake up every day. Like my slogan on my company is "fuck food waste." It just baffles me. I don't say the word, F, I won't say it too much, to go like, this is outrageous. I'm like, it just baffles me that food waste is an actual thing. Stats for you. Food waste, if it was a country, would be the 3rd biggest producer of carbon emissions behind, I think it's America and China, which is mental. Mental. You think of the amount of production, everything that happens in those countries, and if food waste was to be a country, it would be the 3rd biggest producer. Mental. Mind blown. Right, I'm going to taste my little Ruby Murray. The other little project I'm having, if you want to have a look on, that tastes disgusting. As I said, I knew it would. So the other project that I'm working on is this one called the Potato Diaries. Now I know, oh, Mark, what's the Potato Diaries? No, it's not Bridget Jones' Diaries. It is all about me teaching you how to cook potatoes in loads of different ways. So this is the concept is going to broaden out. When I've got more time, you think, okay, so potato, 4.4 million potatoes are thrown away every single day in the UK, in UK homes. 4.4 million potatoes every single day. It's because we literally just look at a potato as this like thing that is just easily replaced. You know, it's cheap, it's a commodity. We can just go, oh, I'll just go get some more if it starts to sprout. No, you shouldn't. You should eat it. So what I've done with the Potato Diaries is I'm showing you how to use a potato in as many ways as possible. So what this does is this will unlock other ingredients or other pairings, okay? So if you think, let's go simple, if you think jacket potato, you can make a jacket potato, but that will only pair with, say, coronation chicken, tuna mayo, beans and cheese. That'll do, mince. And then if you go, right, dauphinoise potatoes, which is lovely creamy slice of potatoes with garlic and all of this stuff, bake that in the oven. What does that pair with? That does not go with beans and cheese. That does not go with tuna mayo. It does not go with chicken coronation. It does not go with mince. So what it does go with is another load of ingredients: roast chicken, lamb, beef, you name it. So by understanding how to cook a potato in different ways, it will unlock different varieties of dishes and ingredients. So when you look in the fridge and you go, I've got a pepper, and if you knew how to cook a pepper 5 different ways, then it will pair with loads of different ingredients. And this is, you know, what I'm trying to teach: how to unlock the potential of ingredients. So go and check it out, Potato Diaries. I've been touted to do the milk diaries because milk, again, is another one of those ones that people are just like, they get to the end of it and then they just sling it in the bin. All of these statistics, by the way, are coming from this company called WRAP, W-R-A-P, Love Food, Hate Waste. WRAP is a massive government-backed company that I've been doing some work with, and Love Food, Hate Waste is sort of like their sister company, and then they've got other ones that deal with recycling and sustainability and all of this kind of stuff. And we're doing this whole project where we're sort of teaching people how to use the ingredients, i.e. the cauliflower. So I'll be showing next week how to use cauliflower in loads of different ways. Okay, as I said, this tastes like absolute McGarbans. So we're going to make it taste delicious. I've got some lovely, let's use the word sustainable. The new hip word, if you want to be cool, is regenerative. If you don't want to use sustainable, just doing regenerative, like regenerative farming, regenerative clothes fashion, regenerative cooking. That is such a word. Right, so if you're cooking at home, remember, please have a taste. It will taste disgusting. Take a nice dollop of peanut butter. If you're allergic to peanut butter, you can go in with some tahini. You could go in with some almond butter. You could go in with some, don't know, whatever you want. Lovely. Right, peanut butter is in. I'm actually going to go in with a little bit more curry powder. It's going to turn this heat right down. Okay. Where can I put him? Let's bring him over here. Oh, I almost forgot about this guy. What's here? Okay, lime zest. In you go. Don't waste it. So obviously this curry would be a lot quicker to cook if I wasn't talking. I reckon you could do this in 20 minutes. If you cut your cauliflower nice and fine, flew through it, didn't have a natter. Okay. Woo. Back of the knife, get all those good bits out. So with the lime, do the old Jamie Oliver thing, give it a little squidge, break up all those juices inside. And then I'm going to go in with the whole lime. If you've got lemon, totally fine. You want the acidity. Vinegar, maybe not so much. Fresh, vibrant lime. Okay. Oh, cut my finger. So a little bit of sugar, just to sprinkle in there. As I was saying, I was mentioning like other companies that are doing really incredible things. Where did I put it? So salts, you know, you can get really, really cheap tacky table salt, which is full of, you know, crap that you don't want. I always go with a Malden sea salt, which is natural, beautiful. But I actually just got sent this stuff. If you want to check them out, Blackthorn is a Scottish company where they sort of like drain the seawater through this this tower of thorns. It sounds mental. I haven't actually tried it yet, so I'm just like touting a product that could taste like actually junk, but by all lookouts, it is meant to be next level. So this curry is looking amazing. I'm gonna put those to one side. Sugar, lovely. Fresh coriander. Now, come on. I love fresh coriander. People say it tastes like soap. I don't think so. While we're on the topic of putting peanut butter into things, I work with this incredible chef called Connor Spacey. He's the executive chef of a group of restaurants called Inc. in where is he? He's in Ireland. He's in Ireland. And it's this company called Food Space. Go and check him out. Again, I'm not just like pushing it because he's my mate. He is doing the most incredible things. So he looked at, so everyone knows about palm oil. We've all seen the footage of like an orangutan, you know, on a burning log getting chopped down. Palm oil is so bad. And he is doing a project with his restaurants where he sees palm oil as different derivatives. So it'd be different name, not like, you know, palmo, oilo. It could be something completely different that will then, you know, sneak its way into a product, and you think you're doing a good job by it saying, you know, no palm oil, but it could have other things in. So he looks at all of his ingredients, like everyone should, and looks at how, you know, amazing we can be at our choices and everything like that. And he is what put me onto this. While that's ticking away, I'm just going to turn this down. Where's the time? So this stuff, where is he? Let me grab this one. So I'll come close with this. So this guy is called a SCOBY, okay? So when we talk about zero waste and how to use ingredients and how to, you know, create, well, yeah, I suppose, create zero waste. It's like, how can we close that full loop? And that's sort of like, you know, the circular economy thing that you're working on. So you've got compost, which is, you know, your control. If you've got an allotment, if you've got a compost bin, you are closing that loop because you're feeding that back into nature. Certain things can't go into compost and certain things can be used in other ways. So this stuff here is my brew of kombucha. So kombucha is a natural drink that is good for your gut. I don't know all the science behind it. These little things in here that look absolutely revolting are called scobies. Again, I don't know the real science. It's a fermentation. But apparently these scobies are like this sort of like lump of bacteria that absorbs 99 point something percent of all the amazing bacteria that is in the environment and turns it into this amazing carbonated drink. Now, I know what you're thinking, why a drink, blah, 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 blah. What this does is this allows you to take ingredients to flavor your kombucha. So a basic recipe is 2 liters of water, 200 grams of sugar, 8 tea bags. Bring it, like make a cup of tea or like a 2-liter cup of tea, put your sugar in, and then put your SCOBY in, one of these with a little bit of the liquid, and you let that ferment for 7 days. What will happen is it will like produce another massive SCOBY on the surface, like a weird film. Then what you do is you take that out and you put fruit in. So this is the zero waste element, okay? So in here, I had some frozen cranberries and all my blueberries that my son doesn't eat, I put into the freezer. When they're in the freezer, I take them out and you put them into your kombucha. This is then flavored for 7 days. These berries have not done, you know, they haven't finished their cycle. These have now got this like incredible sort of like fermented like tang. So you can turn this into a coulis. You can blitz this down, maybe with a bit of sugar. They may not need it because they might have absorbed the sugar from this. And then you can put that in your porridge. You can put it on your ice cream. You can put it through a blooming cheesecake. This is like the ultimate zero waste sort of economy, if you think. You can put your lime, I made a lemon one. You can put your lime bits in there and you can make an incredible lime kombucha, which is, you know, you can serve it with a gin and tonic, you know, no tonic, gin and kombucha. Yeah, it doesn't have the same ring to it, but you know what I mean? So that is how you can create a literally like the most perfect zero waste loop just in a Kilner jar. The other one, which is the ultimate, what we talked about was the ultimate fridge user, is a very simple fermentation, a great technique, and it's kimchi. So kimchi is technically a Korean dish that is made with like fish sauce and sugars and all of this kind of stuff. But Spacey gave me one that is, I'm just going to turn my curry off because he is good to go. I'm just going to talk to you about this. So kimchi is one of the greatest ways to do a fridge use up. So you can take all of your cauliflower stem, your cauliflower leaves, your broccoli stalks, your carrots, your apples, everything like that, and just shred them up nice and fine, put them in a Kilner jar, and then you make an amazing, punchy, aromatic sort of paste out of onions, garlic, ginger, water, and sugar, and a bit of chili powder or fresh chili. And then what that does is you put that in. What it doesn't do anything. I don't know what I'm saying. Get a kilner jar, all your veggies in, all of that liquid, mix it all around, and then make sure that there is some liquid sitting above those ingredients. And what this is called, I think I'm right, is called a lacto fermentation. So the water is doing all of the fermentation. The key piece that I've missed is you have to do, what is it? I think it's a 5% salt to weight ratio. So if you have, let's do a kilo of veg, then you do 5% salt to that. So what's that? I don't know, 5 grams, 50 grams of salt. And then that is what makes the fermentation. There's a video on my my Instagram if I've got all of that wrong. But the kimchi recipe is a great way. If you see ingredients in there, you're like, oh, I've got my next weekly shop coming, but I don't know what to do with it. Dosh, make a kimchi. While we plate this up, I'm going to talk to you about one more other amazing company, which is creating, if you want to have a booze up. Oh, there's another one. Guys, so many. When you get into the food waste world, there are so many incredible companies that are doing small things. I worked in the fitness industry for maybe 4 or 5 years doing recipe developments for, that curly haired guy that goes, come on, everyone. Forgotten his name. What's his name? But what I found is the world is so cutthroat in those industries. They're all like, I'm better than you. I've got more followers. I'm this, I'm that. Whereas in the food waste, sustainability, regenerative world, there is so many incredible companies that just want to share and do something that is fucking cool for the environment. So these guys just sent me a shiza ton of beers. They're called Toast. As you can imagine, they make beer from toast. So in the bread industry, there is so much surplus coming from factories that are making so much bread or places that aren't going to use the bread. So what they do is they turn it. They didn't tell me all their secrets, but they basically turn it into little bready cubes. And when they make the beer from all the hops and all of that kind of stuff, they whack it into their beers. So it's like a zero waste beer. So you can be trendy as anything, drinking zero waste beers, dipping your pizza into zero waste mayonnaise, and then just, whatever. And coming back, where's the other one? And this is another company, if you're into your boozing, which again is creating the most beautiful circular economy ever, is the company called Discarded. Now, what they do, if I'm correct, is when a whiskey barrel is used, they what do? They clean out the inside with rum because it kind of disinfects it and it takes away all of the impurities. That rum is then chucked away, wasted, chucked away. It's beautiful. It's rum. So then what Discarded have done is they've taken that, then they've also taken discarded banana peels, and then they've turned it into this discarded banana peel rum. And it is honestly incredible. I got absolutely smashed on it a couple of weeks ago, and it was joyous. It was joyous. I was like saving the planet, getting pissed, enjoying myself. Win-win. So let's get this curry going into the old bowl. We haven't had a taste. I tell you what, we haven't put in any salt. So I think this is still good. Probably tastes a bit better. We did put salt in. More sugar. The last little piece of the puzzle I want to talk to you about while I'm plating this up. Oh, that is delicious. So I'm choking on a bit of cauliflower leaf. Lovely. So there are two places or two aspects of where food waste can be broken down into. What you have is you have pre-farm gate and then you have post-farm gate, okay? So if you just think, I literally visualize it as a gate. Pre-farm gate is anything that happens inside that farm. So that is where, then post-farm gate is everything that happens afterwards, i.e. houses, retail, manufacturing, all of that kind of jazz. So pre-farm gate is where we can't get, we can't do anything about that. But there are companies that are doing things about that. So there's a company called Oddbox, which you may have heard of if you're from London. They basically take ingredients. So it could be, let's say, a parsnip or a carrot that is either wonky, too small, too big, because supermarkets are very poncy and they like to have straight carrots that are orange, that are beautiful, they've got no mud on them. They're like the stereotypical carrot. Whereas carrots don't grow like that. They may splinter off and they may have 2 legs, or they may have 2 legs in the little Johnson. They are weird. Ingredients are weird and they don't grow uniformly. So what Oddbox does is it takes all the wonky stuff, all of the surplus stuff, puts it into veg boxes, and then gives it to us for us to use. Brilliant. But this is where I saw not an issue, but a slight problem, is that we could feel like we're doing an incredible thing working with Oddbox, like me going, yeah, great, I'll take a bit of Oddbox. I'm helping the world, congratulations. But at the same time, if you don't know how to cook and an ingredient turns up and you're like intimidated by a 2-pronged carrot, you're probably going to be like, oh, well, I've done a good thing by getting Oddbox. But then at the same time, you could be wasting it and it's just gone in a different direction into the bin. Instead of it going, into the bin it's gone post farm gate to us into the bin because we don't know how to use it or because we're confused or scared. So all I want to sort of like, get you to take away from this, simplify your life inside the kitchen. Plan your week, buy ingredients that you're going to use, go be creative, think of a few dishes and stick with that for the week. Bulk cook, use your freezer, use backpack bags, use containers that are like lifelong instead of this like consistent throwaway society that we're in, just like grabbing bits and pieces and going, oh yeah, oh well, let's just do a little top up. Plan a weekly shop. I tell you what, a weekly shop will save you so much money because you're not going to be bobbing to the shop every couple of days, spending 20 quid on hobnobs and your crave just to get your bits done. Look, I am nattered, and I can't even think of anything else to say. But let me come and sit down the front and show you this curry. Here we go. Oh, can you see that? There is that is a zero waste curry because there is nothing that's gone into the bin apart from, I would say, that little sort of like scrag end of an onion. All of the cauliflower has gone into this. It's joyous. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. Alex, if you're there, my man, or Will, anyone? Yes, a friend. I've been
I
talking to
am
myself for
back.
about an hour.
Don't worry. We just love the sound of your voice so much. I thought I'd leave you to
Good
it. But
times.
that was awesome. I hope everyone learned as much as me from the last cook along that we did here at Showcode. Yeah, I know I certainly took a few of those tips in. I think from a food waste perspective, both from the hack and from a general life perspective, like that was amazing. So
Yeah,
yeah, just a
good
big thank you
times.
to you. Big thank you to
No
everyone that
worries.
tuned in as well.
Yeah, well, I hope the rest of the hack goes well, and hopefully someone will come up with a hack to cut food waste out. Maybe that'd be good. Maybe like a zapping bin or something. I think is what I've always thought of.
Well, there you go. If that's not food for thought, pardon the terrible pun, going into the weekend, then I don't know what is. Thank you, Martin, and thank you everyone for
No
listening.
worries, dude.